How's it going, guys? Welcome to Audio Addiction. We have an unfamiliar face, a new person here. I'm going to let him say his name, what he does, and all that jazz.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thanks so much for having me, Brandon. My name's Wes Hoffman. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, so deep in the heart of the Midwest
Ooh,
here.
there we go.
And yeah, I am a singer, songwriter. I'm a punk rock enthusiast, pop culture enthusiast. And I have a new single coming out here that's kind of a little bit of a relaunch of like my music. It's coming out on March 5th. So I'm really stoked for that and excited to be sharing that out with the world. So yeah.
There we go. Awesome. Well, I want to give a shout outs to Val over at What Happened to Your Band. She's the
Yes.
best. I've been working with her for oh God, I don't even know how many years. I'm sure she'll let me know down below, but it's been a long time, so we're very good friends, and I always love having her artist on because she's always got the cream of the crop, you know. So I appreciate you coming on, Wes. So, but obviously the big question, the reason I would assume most people are here and want to know about is how did you start out as like a singer songwriter? Has it always been something that like has been a part of your family, or like you were like the first person in your family that like wanted to do music, or like just give me what is the West origin story, because I always love finding out about like how artists start out. So feel free to take as much time as you want. I'm a music nerd, so I love hearing about this stuff. I know some people don't like hearing these long, drawn out things, but listen, if you're gonna be appeasing to me here, and that's the reason why you're on here. So
I love it. I love it. Yeah. So, and shout out to Val as well. I just started working with her. I've not worked with her very long, just for a couple of months. We really just started working together, but has been and done a phenomenal job. So I really appreciate her making the connection. And yeah, the Wes Hoffman origin story. I did have my mom is a huge musician. She
awesome.
went to college. Yeah, she went to college and majored in music. Piano was her instrument, is her instrument. She's also a wonderful singer. And so she taught me and my sisters piano lessons when we were probably, I think, 4 or 5 years old. She
Wow.
started teaching real simple piano stuff. And my sisters were more into the piano than I was. I really got into the guitar, but like she gave me lessons until about fifth grade. And then I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. It seems a little bit too tedious for me. I wanted to I just didn't connect with it as much as my sisters did. And so my mom had an old guitar, like a little 3/4 guitar in her
Nice.
bedroom in the corner that she never really played with. It's my great grandma's. And I was always kind of interested in it. And I really started getting into music and punk rock bands at the time. I was probably about 12 or 13. So around that like fifth, sixth middle school
Yeah.
age, you kind of start to come into your own of what you really, you start to develop your own taste for things.
Yeah.
And so one day when I wasn't allowed to touch it because it was like an antique, it was
Ooh.
like a really nice guitar. But one day when my parents weren't home, I think I was the only one home actually. Like I went up there, I played it, so I definitely disobeyed my parents. And
Punk rock, very punk rock of you. I like that.
yes, and there was a little book of chords, and so I started playing. And then one day they caught me doing it. I came home and I didn't. They were gone. They came home and they were like, "Oh, he's playing the guitar." And they were like, "Well, you're actually picking it up and you're pretty good at it." So I wasn't too long after that. They got me my own guitar, and or I asked for it for my birthday or Christmas or something, and I started taking lessons and everything. Kind of, I first started out kind of like many people do, just learning chords and really simple stuff. And then I heard Mxpx on it.
Oh,
I heard
wow.
Mxpx on a sampler CD, and I was like, "What is this? I've never heard anything this fast. This guy sounds like I mean, even though they're not the heaviest band, this guy sounds like he's pissed off about something." And and the guitars sounded different, and it was pretty much over from there. I started diving into the world of punk rock, and Yeah, so I've had kind of that was how I started, and I had a period of time in there where I didn't play for probably about 7 or 8 years, where just life happened, and I had an acoustic guitar in the corner and just never picked it up. And it's been 5 or 6 years ago now that I picked it up again, and I'm back full force. It doesn't, I mean, probably not a day goes by that I don't pick up the guitar. So yeah, hopefully that wasn't too long-winded for you.
No, I love that. It's funny, when I have people on here and they talk about that sort of stuff. Um, well, obviously you don't know, but a lot of my fans here know that I play guitar, and I can imagine like a similar story growing up and stuff, like where, I mean, my family doesn't know how to play any musical instruments. I was like the first one to be like, yeah, they told me how to play. They were like, oh, you should learn how to play piano, all this sort of stuff, and I'm like, piano, who likes piano? Like, like, no offense to piano players, there's a lot of great piano players out there, but I was just like, I don't know if I'm really feeling it. And then so I can kind of find similarities to you, and like growing up around the same age too, and just being like, you know what, my parents gave me like one of those like boxed guitars, like you get the amp, you get the little
Yes.
baby guitar, like, and they were like, you should try playing this, and I was like, nah, I don't know if I'm into guitar, and then I remember like looking at it like while my parents were out or whatever, and I was like, let me just play it, let me just figure it out. And then after that, I've been playing it ever since. So I kind of, I feel that camaraderie of like the storyline and stuff, and I appreciate that. I guess in between the like hiatus point, between like, back then and now, did you like have any ideas of like maybe like doing a band or something like that, or has your main focus been like, hey, I just want to do the singer songwriter like punk rock sort of thing, where I just like I'm just going full force with just me? Did anything cross your mind where you're like, I want to be with somebody else, or like have friends that you're like, oh, you play this instrument or this instrument, like maybe we should do
Yes.
something?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So uh, I do have a band that I play
Okay.
with live. So like my best friend that I use, so I played in bands all through probably like age 16 until 22 or 23, maybe even 25. Like I played in bands off and on, and like um, I always really enjoyed playing with other people, playing music with other people, and writing and stuff. But I always really had the idea of the only thing I can't play drums. That's my big thing. I'm not good at I
Neither
can
can
play
I.
bass, I can play guitar, I can sing, but I can't play drums. So, but I always had the vision for I wanted to record everything. I wanted to record the bass, the guitar, the lead guitar, the rhythm guitar. I wanted to sing, and if I could find somebody to play drums, and then when we play live, I have Wes Hoffman and Friends is the name of my like band, and so it really is my best friends whenever I'm playing live, and so that's kind of how I do it, and that was really the vision for this was I started fooling around on GarageBand. I never really knew how to record myself. And when I started doing that, now that we're older, a couple of the guys in the band are married. All of us have wives or girlfriends, and we all have full time jobs. So
Yeah.
practice back in the day was like, well, here's the riff, and I was kind of thinking of this drum beat, like, you
Yeah.
kind of try to speak drummer, and I was kind of thinking this on bass. And now with technology, I can demo an entire song out and send it to them through Dropbox and be like, hey, this is what I'm thinking, like, and then practice. It's really incredible when you think about it, and I'm really grateful for the technology because we actually just did this like a couple weeks ago. I can send them a song, and we have never stood in the same room, and we will play it. Hez, our drummer, will count it off, uh, and we'll play it almost perfectly because everyone's practiced it on their own before they come, and they come to practice, and it's like it's just crazy to me because that used to we've come a long way technology wise. So yeah, I mean, I love being the guy who, in all of my bands in the past, I would say most of the bands anyway, I've always been the guy who's been like forging ahead with it. And I was
Yeah.
kind of like, maybe I just need to, name this project after myself and write the songs how I want them to be done. And if I can find three other guys that are cool with that, and that, and everybody does give their own flair to it as well
Yeah.
when we play live. Like everybody throws in their own bass fills, or Hez on the drums. I'm very limited with what I can do on the drums on GarageBand, so he really throws in his own flavor to it, and really does a great job. And then Johnny, there's might be parts where I'm just like, hey, I know I have this part on the lead guitar, but on that's what it is on the recording, but you can throw in your own little fills here and there. So I like to give everybody like a little bit of creative license.
Yeah. No, that's great. And like and it's funny too, because like obviously we're doing this over the internet as well. So like I find that when I have artists on, just period, it's always really cool to like see that. And like obviously like you can be in a completely different time zone and people can still get stuff done, and I just think it's amazing. And obviously it's a great way to highlight bands that don't live in where I live in New Jersey. It's me being able to like highlight someone from like Japan, or like someone from like Europe or something like that, that otherwise like maybe wouldn't have had that market of doing things. So and obviously creating songs is just a cool thing too in and of itself. I imagine it makes the process easier. And us being kind of older, like we see the progress of just like, oh my god, like you guys are in the garage like working on a track, to like I can literally be like video chatting and be like, yeah, I think we should actually change this up. I actually re-recorded my part and I put that in the track, and this is how it sounds, and here's my updated flair onto the track. And
Yeah.
it's really impressive. So I totally I get enamored by that sort of stuff too. So I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's absolutely incredible to me how far we've come with technology and been able to use it. Like even just a few years ago, before I really dove into GarageBand, I would send my friends, like I would play something on the acoustic guitar and just record it on my voice memos. And even that is like, when you're trying to convey an idea, that is like, oh, we don't have to be in the same room
Yeah.
to like, for me to share this, or I don't have to. We used to play parts of songs over the phone. I was like, okay, I'm gonna hold the phone down so I can play you this riff, like it's crazy. So I'm trying to use some of that technology to my advantage at this point.
You got it. It's there for a reason. You got to take advantage of it. But the next question, Wes, is an important one. Obviously, for people who aren't unfamiliar with your music and are checking this interview out, what would be one song you would recommend to them to listen to? I don't know how much stuff you have previous to the new song coming out on the 5th, but what would, even if it's like a future song coming out, like what would be one that you'd be like, man, this is the Wes Hoffman special track,
Yes,
it's got the sauce.
Well, my newest song that's coming out on March 5th is called "What's Left of Me," and that is I really feel like embodies everybody that I've sent it to. They're like, man, you really found your voice. You've really done a great job with songwriting on this, and it's got everything that I want. It has an anthemic chorus. It's got the fast punk beat. It's got a really cool riff in the middle that I worked really hard on. And that's what I like. I like a little bit of the fast punk. I like the drums to be dynamic, and I like to have a little bit of bass fills in there, a little bit of
yeah, I got you.
And that is probably the one that I would say, check it out. What's Left of Me. And if the other one, then I think so I have three little songs. I have three songs on Spotify right now, are up on all streaming platforms. Spotify is the one I use. So
yeah.
I just think I don't know. It's wrong of me to think that, but
it's
I think
interchangeable. I got you.
Right. And a couple of those are just short little skate punk songs that are about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes long. And that was just kind of when I was started this project. I honestly didn't have any, this is kind of how I am, Brandon. Like I start a project and I'm like, oh, it'll just be cool to do a couple little punk songs, and then, that'll be it. And of course, then it goes to, now I'm here, I am doing this interview with you, and I'm got a music video coming out, and I'm doing all this crazy stuff. So like, But I really just started out with doing a couple of little fun songs. And then I have another song called Fastest Gun in the West that's also a really fun one. And those three that are up on Spotify now, those first three are songs that me and my buddy Hez recorded in his basement. And so, and they sound pretty good. You know, they sound, I feel like the quality of the recording is really well done. He did a great job with that. And so we started out just doing everything DIY, you know, and kind of that old school work ethic. And now with these newer songs, you know, I've went to a proper studio, and you know, I'm working with Val, and we've gotten a video done and everything, and really felt like, you know, I went through like a major life transition about a year ago, and really felt like it was time to do some of these things that I've never done before. Like, you know, I've toured a little bit, like way back in the day. I've played a ton of shows, but I've never done a music video, and it's been so long since I've like recorded in like a real studio. So I really was ready to kind of put some of that stuff out.
Well, I'm excited for the next chapter. I don't know. I feel like the same way. Like when I started out the channel and stuff, I was like, who wants to see this, right? Like who really wants to see it? And then, you know, surprisingly, still like, I celebrated like 5 years ago. Like I've been doing this for like 5 years. Thank you. This past Thursday, which again, it will be a little bit longer since the interview comes out, but like I think back and I'm just like, man, I like didn't know what the hell I was doing back then. I still don't know what I'm doing now. I feel like I'm a little bit better, but like, but I think it's like, you know, I kind of figure the same way that you feel about like, you don't want to miss out on opportunities that like you're just like, man, if I was like on my deathbed, I don't want to be like, man, if I missed out on doing this shit, like I'm gonna hate myself, you know, for not doing it. And so I have a lot of respect for, you know, people who not only do like the band thing or like do the solo thing like you are, that, you know, they take the risk and they just do it, and you know, they work their full-time jobs and they just pour their heart into it, because like those are the people that I like to represent on my channel, because I'm the same way. Like I literally worked my 9 to 5 job today, and I came home and like I was stoked to do this interview, and you know, you got to do it, you know, and if you enjoy it, you love doing it. And I could tell there's that drive in you to like continue to do it. So that's awesome. And I'm excited to check out the music video on the 5th. Everybody should go check it out. I'll leave a link below when it comes out. The interview will probably be out around the same time, so it'll work out timing wise. But I'll have to check out the other like skate punk tracks, because I don't know, something about punk that I've always loved is that like you can have like a full album with just like 2-minute tracks, and there's like 20 songs, and you're just like, man, how am I gonna get through this? And then like it's gone like in an instant.
Dude, I always loved that, you know. And I completely agree with what you were saying about, you know, I'm on March 6th, I'm going to be 38. And like, I have no shame in saying how old I am, because I feel very young. Like,
Yeah.
I feel I have so much energy, and I completely agree. I felt like, you know, if I don't do this now and like this, then when am I going to do this? Like, I can't imagine myself being 50 and then like putting this out, you know, but
You could,
I can't imagine myself being 50 and still playing music and looking back and being like, wow, look at all these songs that I have on Spotify, or look at all this stuff that I've been working on since 2017. And yeah, so I totally hear you. Like age is just a number. And
yeah.
I think if you keep doing it, you know, you have that thought in your head of like, nobody's really going to listen to this, or nobody really cares, but you keep doing it and people start to care. And I felt like with these new songs, like I really cared about them,
Yeah.
and like no other people will care, like, and that'll shine through for sure. But yeah, congrats to you, man, for 5 years of being consistent and doing anything is a really big deal. So
yeah. Oh, I know. Well, thank you. Also, you know, early birthday, happy birthday. We share a March birthday. Mine's the 1st, so like,
sick.
I'm gonna be 28, so I'm a whole 10 years ahead of you know. But
Well,
but
yeah, you're a Pisces. Then I don't know if you pay attention to astrology, but like
not too much. But I know a little bit. Yeah.
We're creative, and we're emotional. That's all you need.
I don't know if my girlfriend would want to hear that, but I'm sure she can weigh in on that aspect of it. But Getting back to the music stuff, Wes, of course, who are some of the bands that like shaped you and molded you as an artist? And then kind of who influences the sounds currently? I'm always curious about this because, like I said, I always try to do my due diligence when I have bands on. And the single that's coming out March 5th, I was like, man, this is like, if you will ever want like a real like pop like a punk track, like man, that just like that it just is like I can't even like you could put a period on the end of that sentence, like it is just the quintessential punk track. So like I'm curious, obviously you mentioned Mxpx, but like I'm curious who else like kind of shaped you and molded you as a punk artist.
Sure, absolutely. MXPX for sure. They were the first. I mean, them and Green Day were like, I mean, the classic ones from the '90s, because that's when I grew up. Was MXPX, Green Day, The Offspring. Face to Face was another one that I really liked. They always had. Face to Face was a little different. They always their music was a little, and their guitar work was a little bit more melodic, and their lyrics were a little bit more thought provoking and
Yeah.
in depth. I really like them, and I don't know if you can hear it a little bit on that one, or how big of a fan you are of these guys. But Strung Out is also another big
Oh
one.
yeah, you're right. I was like trying to think about it. I was listening to it at work today, and I was like, there's definitely another band that I like. Again, there's so many bands that probably escape my head, but like I when you hear it and you're like, yeah, okay, yeah, and then definitely Strung Out for sure. But you can
Yeah,
continue.
yeah. So those were the kind of the bigger ones, and then of course I was a fan of Blink 182 as well, but they didn't hit me as and I still I probably am influenced by them as well, but and then in the early 2000s I was really a big fan of Taking Back Sunday and Brand New. I loved how they would always have these really cool vocal, like callback vocals. One guy would sing something, the other guy would do a background thing, and
Yeah,
they all always had really cool. Um, Taking Back and Brand New always had really cool breakdowns in their songs
yeah.
too, where they would jump around, and I really liked that. I always one thing that I like about punk rock, but just live music, is performing in general. And I always loved when you'd see a band, you'd hear a band CD, and you'd be like, "Oh man, I bet when they play this live, they just fucking wail and like
Yeah,
jump around and go crazy." And a band like that from St. Louis, Story of the Year, is another big
yeah.
one. Their live show is just absolutely incredible, and so those bands were definitely the ones that influenced me early on. Where that there a lot all of those bands, their music really grabbed me for sure.
Oh, 100%. I'm all about the like I listen to a record and I'm like, I just could imagine this live and just being like, just like bone shaking, like just fun. Like, you know what I mean? I think it's like the true testament of a band, at least for me, even if I've never heard their music, is if I see them on stage and they're just like having a good time, they're like doing their thing, like they're hit, like even if it's not like perfectly timed, but they're like close enough where like if you're not like a musician and you got your notepad out and you're like, man, they were off by like 1/8 of a millisecond, like if they were within the rightful timing of that, like, that to me speaks more volumes. Like if I've never heard the record, I would go and listen to them at that point and be like, whoa, I've never heard of this band, but now I'm gonna listen to them because their like stage presence is just so awesome. So I respect that because I feel like that might be like, I don't know. I feel like that's like an old thing to say, I guess, like it's like that, like the
No.
arms crossed, like the guy that stands in the back by the sound guy. I don't know. That when I was going to shows and stuff, obviously, hopefully we'll be back to doing that soon. But like, I'm just the guy that like either I have my camera out or like I'm literally just like not like my arms crossed, like I hate the band. I'm just like very like I don't know. I'm a very intentful listener, so when I go to see shows, I'm like focusing on like the band aspect of it, like their musicality, all that sort of stuff. Like I don't know, I'm just a huge nerd about music, so that's what I do.
I'm exactly the same way. And when I was younger, I wanted to be down at the very front. I wanted to be in the pit, rocking out and like pushing people and stuff. Never too violent, but like I wanted to be down there in the mix.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
now that I'm older, I like sitting. It's not a pretentious thing. It's just I like sitting in the back. That's where where it sounds the best because
Oh
the
yeah,
sound out. And if you're usually sitting or standing near the sound guy, that's like where he's trying. That booth is placed where the sound will be the best for him to
it's the
hear.
crisp. It's the crispness. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's usually the best spot. And I'm usually that guy now that's sitting, kind of like you mentioned, like that's sitting back there, like drinking a beer, paying attention to what they're doing, and kind of not critiquing them, but just taking in, like, oh man, like he and I always love when bands will add in a little something extra, like on a guitar solo or something like that,
Yeah.
or that's different than the recording. So I like to pick up on those little nuances as well.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. I felt like a real dad, saying that sort of answer, but like honestly, I'm okay with that. Like, everybody can roast me in the comments about that, but I'd rather be arm crossed dude in the back than like get my eye punched in a mosh pit somewhere. I'm getting
Yeah. Oh,
older, so I'm not trying to spend my night in an ambulance somewhere. Just, I mean, I gotta keep it 100 with the people here at Audio Addiction,
no,
So,
I totally understand. I totally
uh,
get it.
well, next question was obviously another important one. Who's on your Spotify? Like, what have you been listening to lately? I always love asking this question because I can only have so many antennas up for like new music, so I'm always curious what other people are listening to. So, what have you been jamming recently?
Absolutely. That's a great question. The first band that comes to mind is a band called American Thrills. Are you familiar with them?
No, I'm not. I'll have to go check them out.
They're, yeah, they're from kind of your area. They're one of the guys is from. I'm a podcaster as well, and so I've podcasts on the
You
side.
can plug that if you want. You go ahead. Why as well.
What's that?
You can plug that if you want.
Oh,
You might as well.
it's just called Wes Hoffman with Friends. But I recently had them on, Kurt, the lead singer, who I've become pretty good friends with, um, like in December, and they just put out an EP. Um, I want to say late last year, early this year now, and they're getting ready to put out another EP here probably this spring, and they just have this cool. They're kind of punk. They're kind of Americana, like
Ooh, okay.
not, but they're not slow. Like they're kind of like they wail on the guitars. They have everything that I like in a band. They have like emotional lyrics, like nostalgic lyrics, emotional vocals, like kind of gritty vocals, and the drums are really driving, and the guitars, like they have some cool guitar solos and stuff. But yeah, American Thrills. Another one is they're also from your area. They're called Keep Flying. I'm not
Oh
sure if
yeah,
you.
keep flying. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're good friends of mine. I played a show with them down here when they came through St. Louis not too long ago, and I've seen them many times now. Every time they come through St. Louis, I I watch them, and they just put out a new album as well. I want to say toward the end of last year, and it's very, very good. Very. I never thought that I could feel the emotion of a saxophone, but I mean, they do it, man. Their last track on that album hits me in the feels every time, dude.
Yeah. No, they're great. I'm almost. I want to say they're from New Jersey because I know that I've heard that name around here, and the tri-state area always talks about bands in this area. So like, I feel like they are. I'm pretty sure if
Yes,
my knowledge serves me correct.
a
I'm gonna
couple
look
of
it
the,
up real quick just in case. I don't want to look
yeah,
like an
yeah.
idiot.
Oh, a couple of the guys are from New Jersey, a couple from New York and Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Let
It's
me look.
all, yeah, they're kind of spread out, but yeah, it's there. I really like them a lot. I'm a big fan of two others that I can just shout out real quick. Hot Mulligan is a
Yes.
I've been listening to them a lot. Their album that came out last year, when quarantine happened, when COVID happened, and I started going on really long walks, and I would just listen to music. And their new album, "You'll Be Fine," is
Yes.
I probably have listened. That was my most listened to album last year. Just every song was amazing. And then I'm a big Knuckle Puck fan too. You could probably hear it a little bit in
Yeah.
my new music. There's a little bit of their influence as well. they're one of the newer bands that kind of maybe not so much on this most recent album, but they pay homage to a lot of older bands. Like they still have that fast punk beat.
Yeah.
They keep it I don't know. They have their own sound, really. Like they're a really great band, and their new album I listened to their new album 2020. I listened to that a lot when it came out as well, and it's still in rotation. So
Yeah, that I was gonna say that one's heavy in my rotation too, because like, I'm sure my girlfriend can attest to this. We had listened to that record because like I take a drive to get to her house, and so like when I drive her back to her place, it's a it's about an album's worth of material, and so we would listen to obviously I try to do reviews, but I took like kind of a hiatus a little bit towards the end of last year, and I was like, I think that had just came out just like right as soon as I was taking a break. So I was like, damn man, I should have done a review of this. But yeah, no, that was on my list, and she was like, who's this band? Like they're awesome. And I was just like, oh, it's Knuckle Puck. It's 2020. And she's like, we both collect vinyl. So she's like, one of us has to buy it so we can have it in our collective collection, you know? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to probably wind up splurging on it at some point and getting it. But I totally feel that. It's such like, oh man, it's so good. It's so catchy. Like, I think the one thing about that, like even Hot Mulligan too, like that one was another fantastic record that I think like you said, those two, I feel like a lot of people kind of like, I want to say like slept on, but I don't feel like a lot of people talked about it in like their year-end wrap-up stuff. And I was a little upset, I was a little peeved by that, because I was like, man, these both deserve to be like way up there. They were probably in my like top 15, I would say, for sure, easy.
I would say one more from last year, because I could literally talk to you about this kind of stuff for like
we could talk forever. I don't care.
One that I really liked that came out last year as well was Neck Deep's All the Forces Are.
Yeah.
That was a really good one too. And when I need when I need kind of a pick me up, when I'm like, oh, I don't know what to listen to, like I'll throw that on, and it's so easy to listen to, and every song is so catchy, and they're just a great band. I really we needed, I feel like there was a drought of good pop punk bands for a while.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I would agree.
From the early, in this weird period of from like 2005 to maybe like 2011 or something, like there just wasn't much. I really fell off like a lot of pop punk music fell off my radar. Like there just wasn't a lot of stuff coming out that I felt. Wonder Years was one that's like kind of always been around since like, they put out albums like in like 2009 and stuff, but I don't remember a lot of music coming out around that time. And it was like 2015, there was like an explosion of 2014, maybe like that's when I found out about Knuckle Puck and Neck Deep and State Champs and some of these bands that are like well known now.
Yeah.
And they weren't super well known back in like,
yeah.
Knuckle Puck came here and played in like a 500 person venue, and there's maybe only 100 people there. Like there were not many people there. Yeah. And like this was right after Copacetic came out, and I was just like, dang. And now, I mean, they'd sell out and maybe an 800 person venue. Like it's crazy. So it's really, really cool to see. I really enjoy watching bands like Neck Deep is one where I found out about them, and I saw them at a music festival in Dallas, Texas in 2016, and I was just like, these guys are so cool. And now they're just, they're huge. Like they were one of the biggest bands at Warped Tour in 2017. They were like
100%.
It's so cool to see them, like, it's cool to just see them catch on.
Yeah, and it's cool to see them like change. Like I've been a fan of them since probably, like you said, when they were like kind of like people didn't know about them. They were like underground. A lot of pop punk bands kind of were like under the radar sort of stuff, and so I feel that, like, and I remember listening to some of like older Neck Deep stuff, and I was just like, man, this is good. Like this is something's gonna happen. We're like, there's gonna be something that clicks with everybody. And then, I think they released Life's Not Out to Get You, and I feel like a lot of people kind of like jumped on that.
That is an incredible album. Yeah, like I would put that up there with like you know, I mean, I might get roasted in the comments.
It's okay.
If you were to lay out like very like influential albums, like in the genre of punk, I would put that in there with like, you know, if you were to go decade wise, like go back to the Ramones, and then in the 90s, like, you know, go through the 80s and the 90s, like I would put that as like definitely it's one of the most influential albums of the 2010s. Like
I'd
that,
agree.
it's,
Yeah.
I mean, they are like very much a like they're like the pinnacle of pop punk in now. I feel like, you know, they're just such a great band, and like um they're like how Newfound Glory was when I was in high school. You know what I
That's
mean? Like
I could see the similar. Yeah, I could see the similarities. So I feel like I kind of cross barriers. Like I'm like in that area where like I obviously know how important Newfound Glory is to like punk and pop punk and stuff. I would probably. I mean, I would also agree with the Neck Deep thing. I would probably say like the only other band that I can think of that I would probably put on the same like tier. I'd probably put like this the Story So Far. I feel like those two
oh, for
bands.
sure.
I feel like those
For
two bands like that those two were the bands that I feel like a lot of people like. There was just an era where people kind of like took those bands like influentially, and now you can hear it in bands that are like coming out now and stuff, and I think it's cool, you know. It shows the decade, it shows the decades of like, you know, how bands grow, and you know how like obviously the people who are fans of that music create new music, you know.
Absolutely. And I the Story So Far is one I'm actually looking up on my phone right now. I want to look something up. They are one that when so Under Soil and Dirt came
Yeah,
out in
yeah.
2011. And I remember when that came out, that was one of the first bands, what I said earlier about I didn't hear I like pop punk kind of fell off my radar. Somebody told me, they were like, you need to check out this. I was actually getting a tattoo, and they were playing Story So Far on
On
the
on
stereo.
the stereo, yeah.
And I was like, who is this? I haven't heard a band like this in a long time that's good. That like is like grabbing my attention. And they said it's a Story So Far. And they're a really cool example of like, and them and Neck Deep both, of how they progress their sound, like how their sound has changed from like this kind of, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but this kind of sugary pop punk, like, you know, just like real energetic. Like, I mean, their music
Yeah.
is energetic, but in a different way. It's a little bit more dramatic. It's their music has changed as they have, as people have changed, and the style changes a little bit. And it's a little darker and a little slower, and then, you know, and I really really think that that's it's cool to see bands like that progress as artists too. And both of those bands are perfect prime examples of that, where like they've changed, and I feel like they don't lose a lot of fans as they change. It's not too drastic of a change that they're like, oh, this is a completely different sound than
Yeah.
the album, you know?
No, I agree. Like I feel like their trajectory as a band has kind of just like kept this even keel, you know, like with each record they kind of incorporate different things, and then, you know, they're where they're at now, and, you know, obviously they're titans amongst, you know, the pop punk scene. So I definitely agree with that, and best of luck to them in the future. And I'm excited. I'm always excited for, you know, pop punk is like, you know, is just such a great genre, and there's just some new band out there that always excites me to listen to like the next thing. So, you know, very cool. But we're gonna move on. Next question, Wes. It's a
I
fun
don't
one.
mean to share you too much.
No. I listen. I just let this flow. You know, we just let it go. You know. So, the next thing would be is a fun one. If you could pick a song to cover, what would it be?
Whew. This isn't my real answer, but the first song that popped into my head was "If I Could Turn Back Time" by Cher. I don't know why.
That would be very. That would be. I feel like I just want to do that for the sentiment. You know, like you said it first, like that. I mean, that's gonna stick out to me, but.
Whew. Man, that is a tough one. Yeah, I mean, if I could turn back time, that might be sound kind of cool if you pop punked it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know. There was this song by Brand New had a song, and I'm not a huge supporter of them anymore because of like some things that happened and
Yeah.
they kind of got canceled. But they had a song on one of their earlier albums. Um, I can't remember the name of it, but I think it's track number 7, and it just had such a cool. It had a really cool like um, mix of distortion and clean channel guitars, and then at the
Yeah.
end they had a really cool break that had these kind of similar in my new song that's coming out. Like they had this part where they had these breaks where it would like they'd be rocking out, and then it would be like a stop, and I could picture them all jumping, and that was a really cool. That's one that kind of comes to mind. And another one that I've always really liked by the story so far is that song Nerve.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like that would be a cool one to kind of to cover. Um, and one of my all-time favorite songs, it's not pop punk, but I'm an '80s baby, so I always really liked "Everybody Wants to Rule the World" by Tears for
Oh, yeah.
Fears. So going a little outside of punk there, but I just anytime that song comes on, like I want to listen to it front to back. Like I can't. I don't know. I just have mad respect for that song. It's something about it. It actually kind of makes me. It's just nostalgic, and it's there's something kind of haunting about it for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
That voice.
No, that would be very, I don't know. I imagine it's probably being covered like that, but it would be very cool to hear something like that again, like, and have your take on it. Cause I feel like you would make it like a real punk track, you would speed it up and just have it like really like interesting. So,
Yeah,
I,
I'll
I
work on.
would, I would be down for it. Listen, it's on the internet, Wes. So either way, either if I want it or somebody else wants it, it's on the internet. So if anything, the internet holds you to all of those things. So let Wes know in the comments below which one you feel like if any of the examples he has given you would like to hear a cover of, or if you have a suggestion for him to cover, drop it down below. I'm sure he'd love to hear some feedback on that. But the next question, Wes, another fun one. Favorite food to eat? What's the go-to meal?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I am a huge, and my girlfriend will attest to this. So I live by myself, and I am just a huge pizza fan. Like I
Ooh.
like. It's really easy for me if I make a frozen pizza. That's like 2 meals. You know what I mean? Like
You're right.
so. I'm a huge pizza fan, and I usually like jalapenos, and I'm a vegetarian, so like I'll get some Beyond Meat, or
Oh,
I'll make like a taco pizza or something. Like I'll get the like Morning Star or like Beyond Meat and make taco meat out of it and put it on a pizza with like some nacho cheese and jalapenos on it, and it's really good. So that's my like go. And I mean, there's nothing more
then
pop punk and
pizza.
pizza. It's just one of those things. And I love when I was a kid, they first came out with Pizza Hut came out with the stuffed crust.
Yeah,
Commercial where like everybody was eating it backwards because
yeah.
the crust was so good. And we would get those. We would order pizzas when I was a kid on like Friday nights or on the weekends. Like, my mom or dad would come home with like a couple of pizzas for the weekend, and that was always just like it's just comforting to me. That's something that I have been doing like during quarantine is I'll order like a pizza, maybe on the weekends, just and it'll last me the whole weekend. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Maybe even in the next week sometimes. So I'm just a huge pizza monster, dude.
Oh, same. I like. I probably will get some flack for this, which I honestly don't care. I like cold pizza. I feel like
Oh,
some people don't like cold pizza, and I'm like, how pizza is delicious if you put it in the oven. You like put it in the air fryer. You eat it cold, straight out of the refrigerator. I don't like. People always give me some flack if I like eat cold pizza, and I'm like, it's still good. Like
yeah,
it's
yeah. So
pizza. Yeah.
I used to eat cold. I used to eat it just straight out of the fridge. Like
Yeah, yeah.
now I'm like I like to microwave it, but I mean I don't hate like pizza any kind of. And I mean there's so much. There's like you got pan pizza, you got thin crust. We actually have. Have you ever heard of St. Louis style pizza?
I've not. No. Is it a special way that they do it?
It is. It
Okay.
is. It's thin crust. It's thin crust with Provel cheese, which Provel is a mix of like provolone, Swiss, and mozzarella, I think.
Interesting.
So it's like it's definitely a highly processed cheese, and it's like you eat it, and it's like it's real, it like sticks to the roof of your mouth, but it's really good. I People from St. Louis love St. Louis style pizza, but people from outside of St. Louis hate it. Like it's totally and there's one more thing is it's cut into squares as well. So it's like you
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking.
have this like it's like almost like eating a little like cracker pizza.
I got you. I got you. I'm envisioning it now. So
But
when
it's
I
good, you know?
when I go to St. Louis at some point in my life, I'm gonna have to get St. Louis pizza. So, guys, let me know if you live in St. Louis. Is it a yes or a no? I need to know. I know Wes is on board with the St. Louis pizza, but I need backup here. So let me know what you think. Uh, Next question, Wes, is a fun one, music related, of course. If you could pick somebody to collaborate with, whether it be a guest spot on your next record or a producer you'd like to work with in the future, who would it be?
Oh man, that's great. Producer wise, like I would love to work with excuse me there, just I would love to work with Sam Pura, who did a lot of
Oh
the
yeah,
stories so far. Actually, have had him on my podcast several years ago, but he just is always doing some um, uh, really cool projects. You know, of course, he did all those stories so far albums. I think engineering and mixing those, and he worked with the Dangerous Summer, and has just done some really cool albums. And then out actually again, I'll go east. So that's West Coast, and then East Coast. There is a studio out there that Ace Enders
yeah.
from early November and Nick from A Man Overboard,
Overlord,
a
yeah.
Lumberyard. I'd love to go out there and do a song with those guys, or do record with those. Those are two people I'd love to record with. I would love to, and again, another person I've had the pleasure of having on my podcast was Chris Connolly from Saves the Day, also a New Jersey guy.
Yes,
Um,
correct.
Lives in California now. He is just a musical mastermind. You know, when you listen to his out those Saves the Day albums, like he wrote a lot of that. Like especially early on, like he wrote a lot of those guitar parts and a lot of those songs, and the other guys played on them. Added their own flair, but. I started going and recently just watching a lot of videos of him and explaining different riffs and different songs, and he knows a lot about music theory and
Yeah,
is actually a really good guitar. Most of the time when they play, like he just sings. I mean, he plays guitar sometimes, but they have two other guitar players, and he'll kind of just sing and get the crowd into it. But he's a great guitarist as well, and just has a knack for a good melody and
yeah.
an amazing songwriter. So yeah, I'd love to do something with Chris. If you hear me, hit me up. Find
Do it.
me.
Do it.
With you, dude.
That would be very cool. Obviously I'm a little bit biased because Chris is from New Jersey, and we gotta rep our home states. So like that would be very cool. But we'll have to use the magics of Twitter to make that happen. We could do it, guys. Make sure to add Eight Enders and Lumberyard. That would be very cool. Then I'll be able to meet Wes probably, if we're not in quarantine times, but definitely would be a cool thing. So let the people know if you wanna make that happen, you know what to do. You gotta be vigilant on the internet. But
You.
the next question, Wes, is a fun one, a personal favorite of mine because I'm a nerd and I like asking it. If you could be a video game character, who would you be?
Oh my God. Whew, good one. Good one. Good one. Man, I'm trying to think of some of my favorite games. Okay, so there was this game when I was a kid that it's called Totally Rad. It's for
Yes.
Nintendo.
Oh, I know it's what you're talking. Oh, yeah, I know this one. Yeah.
And this kid, his name was Jake, and and he is at a carnival, and his girlfriend gets kidnapped, and this wizard named Zeb is like, this is so wild. Listen, I'm talking about this. I loved this video game. I had it when I was a kid. I could never beat it. It's kind of like Mega Man. You have
Yeah.
these different, kind of animals that you can morph into. There's a lion, there's an eagle, there's a lizard, and there's a water level, and you play as the lizard, and you can swim, and there's like a boss that you have to use the eagle against, and you turn into this eagle, and you have wings, and you can like shoot stuff, and like the lion has a special attack, and you also have this magic, like the elements. So there's wind, fire, earth, and water, and you can use the elements again to your power. So you learn magic basically, and it's a really really cool game. And I would love to be Jake, running through this carnival. It's hard. It's really, games back in the day were hard as shit too, man. Like it is a really hard game, and I went back and found that game somewhere not too long ago, like, and I thought, okay, well, if I couldn't beat this when I was 12 years old, but maybe now that I'm 32 years old, like back then when I got it, I was like, I'm smarter than this game. I know I can beat it, but not beat it. Like even with all the YouTube walkthroughs of games now, I cannot beat this game, but I would be Jake from Totally Rad.
There we go. I love that. I haven't. Oh my god, I haven't heard that name in forever. So that's awesome. You definitely stumped me because I consider myself a pretty gamer aficionado. So I remember hearing that. Like, obviously, I've heard of the game before, but I don't think I've had anybody say it here on the channel yet. So as the
Okay,
first,
nice.
definitely representing the Totally Rad crew over here. So
Yeah. So I got a question for you. What
sure
are
thing.
some of the best games on? I have a Nintendo Switch.
So do I.
Um,
Yes.
I have Smash Brothers. I got Mario Kart.
Okay.
But I'm really looking for a good. I Fortnite is like, I downloaded it last night and tried to play it, and I have no idea what I'm doing. So I'm looking for. I used to play a lot of Call of Duty on Xbox.
Oh, okay, okay.
What's a good? I'm thinking about Overwatch. Like, what's a good first-person shooter for the Switch?
So I would say this is probably not a very traditional. Well, I guess it is traditional. There's this game called Splatoon, and is
Yes.
very similar to like Call of Duty. It's basically Call of Duty if all of the characters were like squid people, and instead of using instead of using like ammunition, it's paint. So like what you have to do is like they have different things that you can do. Like you can either like it's like taking over somebody's territory and stuff, and like making sure that like your paint or your team's paint is like across the map more than your like counterpart's team. It's very
Okay.
fun. I would highly recommend if you have a pro controller to play with that, because with the Joy Cons you have to use like the gyroscope, and it's a little
Oh,
disorienting.
okay.
So I would probably recommend that. Another one that's kind of like more of a classic, like I wouldn't say it's like a first person shooter esque thing, but it's like a I don't know if you've heard of the term or phrase bullet hell, but it is like a
Okay.
game where it's just like a bunch of shit's coming at you. It's called Enter the Gungeon, and it's like
Okay.
this okay, so it's like this excuse me, I'm getting hella nerdy on this. So
No,
like
dude, you're good.
we completely shifted it, which I'm
I'm
totally fine
loving it.
with because I'm a nerd. So you've obviously hit my sweet spot here, but so it's this game where it's like a Zelda esque thing, except for like you're like this character. You can pick like I think there's like 4 different characters you can pick, and they all have like different abilities and stuff that help you out in the game. Like one guy's like I guess he's like a thief or like a hacker or something like that. So like in order to get like guns and progress into the game, like he has this ability where he can like, if you don't have a key to like unlock the chest, he can like break into it, like like, and it has like a 1 in, I don't know, like 1 in 4 chance of it opening or whatever. Otherwise, if it doesn't open, then you have to get a key to open it. um but so anyway, so the whole point of the game is like you're you're playing as this like main character, and you have to like play through this like, just, it's like a bunch of shit comes out on the screen, and you're just like, and like your enemies that you face are bullets, and they're using guns
Oh,
to shoot bullets at you, which is hilarious. So it's just like this really big oxymoron, and the game is awesome. It's incredible. If you love hard games, it's a great hard game to play because I've had it for I think I've had it since I've owned my Switch, just about maybe like within like 6 months to a year, and I have still not beaten it. Again, I probably don't devote as much time to it as I do just because like I do this. So, but man, it is fun. It's also very frustrating. So like you could play it, and if you're the type of person that just gets like fueled by like being enraged about it, then you're gonna want to continue playing it. But then you're also gonna look at the clock and be like, "Oh my god, it's like 3 in the morning, and I'm still playing this shit." You know, like so.
Is it a first-person shooter?
It's not. It's kind of like a top down thing.
Okay.
So like you can see your character like move around, you can like dodge roll and all that stuff. So it does have like aspects of like a shooter, but not really. I would recommend Overwatch if you like are a Call of Duty fan. Like I don't personally have it, but like I know a lot of people recommend it because it's the only thing that kind of is like an FPS thing. But
Okay.
but yeah, I would recommend that. I'm in the camp of like other stuff. Like I enjoy enjoy like the classic games, like like Sonic,
Oh yeah.
Pokemon.
I love all those. Yeah, I love even the old Mario's. Like
Yeah, old
I was
Mario.
playing Mario One, Super Mario Brothers. Did you play Cuphead?
I'm playing that too. Yes,
Oh my god! Now talk about a
yes.
game
I
rage.
would say Enter the Gungeon's on like the same level of rage like you will feel, except for
Oh,
like it's fun. That's all I'm gonna say. That but yeah, Cuphead. My girlfriend and I are making our way through like a co-op thing just because
nice.
she bought it for her Switch because she was playing it on my Switch, and she's like, this is, I'm mad, but like I want to continue playing it, kind of a thing. So
Yeah.
I was like, I feel that. So then we just decided to do a whole nother thing and do co-op together. But yeah, no, I love Cuphead, despite how infuriating it is as a game.
But I like that it's challenging. I
Yes.
like that. Like, but I got so mad at that game, and I would get so stumped on some of the bosses that I would stop playing it for like 2 weeks. I would I would be like, this game is pissing me off so bad. Like I'm like breaking up with this game. Like I love this game. It's a beautiful.
Oh,
It's beautiful.
100%. Yeah.
It's beautifully animated, and
The music's great.
I think they actually like delayed it several times because of the production of it like took so long. But it's so well done. But it's so frustrating, and it will it yeah, I rage quit and it sucked a lot of time too. I got it right when quarantine started, and
Oh, that's perfect then.
yeah, and I definitely stayed up a couple nights until like I'm not a late night person, but I was up until like 1:30 in the morning several times. That damn game. Like,
It's the things that like gamer people do to like just like be like, I can't, like I need to stay up and beat, like I need to beat this level. Like I don't know, I get that way sometimes. And I would highly recommend, if I don't know if your girlfriend's a gamer or not, or she plays video games or not, that really does test your relationship if
yeah.
you play
Oh,
co-op.
we've been playing. With Cuphead. No, we haven't tried Cuphead yet, but we've been playing Dr. Mario against each other, and
Oh, nice.
That's become a very. I don't want to say very big, but it's a point of contention. There's some stuff going on, like. I get texts every once in a while like that are like, "Hey, are you ready to get your ass kicked in Dr. Mario?" And like,
That's
but
awesome.
yeah, she definitely. I'm definitely ahead of her in Mario Kart, but she kicks my ass at Dr. Mario. So
Oh, okay. Well, listen, that will hopefully next time we have you on, you've become battle tested, and we can hear the results of where we're at here. But uh, that was our game segment, guys. We
yes,
got obligatory game segment. Obviously. But anyway, Wes, to continue on with the music related questions, of course. Obviously, if we were in a better spot, this would exist. But if you could compile a dream tour lineup,
oh my
the
god.
West special, who would be on your lineup? And this would include your band, just as an FYI.
Okay, yes. So I'm opening. I would love for it to be, oh my God. So Green Day is probably headlining.
Okay. I feel like
Mxpx is probably like second, they're playing right before Green Day. Then I'd say I'd probably put Story So Far in there.
oh, okay.
You know, uh, and I would say, man, I mean, how many slots do I
I
have?
feel like you got to go with one more. We'll give you one more slot.
Shoot, okay, one more.
Make it
So
a
I've got
stacked show, you know?
Green Day, Story So Far, MXPX, and then I would say probably Neck Deep. Yeah, I'd probably put them in.
Ooh, okay.
And then so we're going with like a little. So this is how it kind of works. It's like this old school. I would probably flip it. So we'd go old school with Green Day, then Story So Far, then MXPX, then Neck Deep. So we're going like old school, new school, and then me. And I would and I've kind of got a mix of both. So like. I think I get the. I think look for us coming to an amphitheater near you sometime.
There we go.
Oh
Guys,
gosh,
you can purchase tickets.
I would be pooping my pants every night. Like,
Well, you guys can purchase tickets to this wonderful show that is happening in insert year. Because listen, we don't know when this is gonna be back, but we here on Audio Addiction are a very positive channel, so we extended it out into the universe, and listen,
yes,
we want that to happen. So if you want it to happen, make sure you use the internet. Make sure to tweet at people. That's what I do. I don't know. That sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Whatever. But if you want to make it happen, let the people know. And who knows? Maybe we might see. I'm just gonna say, if I called it, if it happened, I'm calling it right now.
oh my God, yeah.
So I'm putting it out there. I'm just gonna say, if it happens, cool. If it doesn't happen, I'll be upset. But you got to still. Wes is still gonna be out here cranking out tunes. So that's all that matters.
Man.
The next question, Wes, another fun one. Favorite TV show, favorite movie?
Favorite TV show. One of my favorite TV shows of all time that was on when I was growing up was Boy Meets World.
Classic, yeah.
Watched it, but I have seen that series through many times now that it's on Disney Plus. It used to be on ABC Family, and I would set my DVR and I had all the episodes. And I've literally watched that. There's not a single episode that I haven't seen of that. So that's always like one of the first ones that comes to my mind. One of my favorite movies of all time is Big Fish.
Ooh, yes, yeah, that's a good one.
I'm a big Tim Burton fan. I like all of his the Batman movies that he did, Batman and Batman Returns, Nightmare Before Christmas. I like all the stuff that he's done. So yeah, I'm probably gonna go with that. I was also a huge Ninja Turtles fan when I was a kid. Now going back to New Jersey, so I never watched it when it was on TV, when it was actually on TV, because I was graduating. I was in high school, like graduating high school and college, and I just didn't have access to HBO. But The Sopranos is a phenomenal TV show, and when it was on, everybody was always talking about it, and there was all this merch everywhere, and I never watched it because I was just the age that I was. I just didn't have. I just always wasn't always around a TV. I was like taking classes and stuff, and but I went back and I binge watched it like here during COVID, and it's a really, really good show. It will get you very sucked into like just the drama of it all. And I'm like, but it made me really stressed out. Like,
well,
I was like, I'd watch like 2 or 3 episodes before I went to sleep, and then I wouldn't be able to sleep. Like, Polly Walnuts was showing up in my dreams. Like, it was weird.
Well, I feel like, listen, I feel like a lot of people from New Jersey always get asked, they're like, man, you're like, is New Jersey like The Sopranos and stuff? And I was like, I imagine like some portion of New Jersey is like that, more probably closer to New York is like that, especially with a more Italian community. So I usually always get, if I'm from New Jersey, it's either Sopranos, or like, is New Jersey like the Sopranos, or is New Jersey like the Jersey Shore? And you know, like
Oh
it's
yeah.
one of those two things. It's not like there's neither here nor there. People who don't know about New Jersey usually ask me if I'm one of those two things. I'm like, I am neither of those two things. You should just come visit New Jersey. And then everybody's like, who wants to visit New Jersey? And then I'm like, you're right. Who doesn't want? Who wants to visit New Jersey? We know it's listen. We know it's bad, all right? You know, we're not very, like, you know. I like my state, but I'm not gonna be like over here like, you know, I'll die for New Jersey. I'll just be like, it's okay.
Sure, sure. I understand. I understand.
I rep it enough. You know, I only rep it because of the bands, you know, the bands that come out of here. But
Oh, there's great bands in New Jersey. Yeah,
100%. I feel like the one that, you know, obviously saves the day is a big one. My Chemical Romance is from New Jersey too.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so like we, you know, with Bruce Springsteen, that's
Oh, yeah.
I'm not a big Springsteen fan, so like I feel like I'm gonna get a lot of flack for that, but it's okay. I don't care. You know, it is what it is. But yeah, we've had a lot of decent, good, very good bands come out of the States. So I at least we have that going for us.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, early November is another
Yeah.
one. You know, I mean, there's so many bands I feel like from New Jersey that have come out of there. Yeah, tons. I in Lifetime. I mean, there was like a whole scene of music. I feel like that was kind of spawned from like New Jersey, New York.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that's the tri-state area is just great, and you know that's the one thing like I'm super proud about is being from out here. Is just like the heritage of bands like here is just wonderful. So definitely can appreciate that. But the next
Is there
question,
still a decent, like, local scene?
what are you saying?
Is there still a decent like local scene? Like,
I would say so. Like, I mean, I would say New Jersey a little bit tougher now. Just and also like, I mean, if we're talking like obviously pre-COVID, like, I would say there is like I would say Philly's like a lot bigger now. Like they definitely like I don't know within I would probably say I mean they've always been like big, but I feel like over the past couple years they've like really become a lot bigger, which is definitely great because obviously I live about like 40 50 minutes away from Philadelphia. So like
oh, wow.
I feel privileged to be from this area and like being able to go see a bunch of shows in Philadelphia, which like every weekend was like I remember there was weekends where I would just like go to 3 different shows. Like I'd go Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or like I'd go like a couple days throughout the week, and then there would be another show in like New Jersey somewhere. Like it's great. Like I mean I mean I do love having everything close, and then if I wanted to go to New York for like an even larger show, I could do that, or if it was specific to that, you know. I think that's one of the cool things about like this area, like you said, is just having like so many big cities in the area. I guess I would ask how's like the St. Louis area in terms of shows. I know like we talked about earlier going to shows and seeing bands. Do you think that you know, I've definitely had some bands from St. Louis on here, you know, prior, so you know
Sure.
I kind of have an idea, but like, you know, how would you consider the scene to be?
It's hit or miss, man. Like, you know, we don't always like. I would think that where you are, um, almost every tour comes through there, like to either
Yeah,
Philadelphia,
yeah,
or where we are. Like uh, a lot of tours will skip St. Louis, you know, and so if I'll try to go if it's a band that I really want to see. I'll go to Kansas City or Indianapolis or like Chicago. You know, I'm
yeah,
about like 4 or 5 hours from all of those places. So local wise, like when I was coming up, like when I was in my late teens, early 20s, like the local scene was pretty good. Like I feel like we would have local shows. I was in a band and we played one time on a Friday night. We headlined at like a local venue here and we had 100 people show up. And I thought
that's
that was
awesome.
like, I felt like, okay, we're making a name for ourselves here. Like things happening, you know, like, and that was just local bands, you know. But now it's a little tougher. It's like, especially being older, people just don't. I think that after COVID is gone, like, or when we can start doing shows again, I think that there will be more of a like an outpouring of people that want to go to shows, like even on a local level, like everywhere, because we've been cooped up for so long and missed it for so long that I think people are like, I will go to a show 5 nights a week. I don't care. Like, but I've had some decent, you know, I've played some pretty good shows here. Like, you know, when I played my show after, you know, when I played my first show as Wes Hoffman,
Yeah.
we had a decent crowd come out, and it was good. So like, it's just kind of hit or miss. Like, I wish that more people would come out and see local music, because that's how you really, you know, bands can play all the time, but if people don't come out and support it, it doesn't work, you know. So
Oh, I'd agree.
it's
Yeah. I think like yeah, like I feel for that too, because like I feel like kind of similar to your case, like I feel um like Asbury Park area, stuff like that, that's like becoming like, it is a scene in and of itself, but like I feel like it's becoming bigger. It has become bigger over like, you know, the past couple years and stuff like that, and I feel like people are more attuned to come out to like local shows or like bigger, you know, like semi decent tours. Like if they didn't come around like the first time and like hit Philadelphia, they come around on like the B markets and stuff. So like, you know, Asbury Park would be kind of considered that, or like somewhere in New Jersey. And so, you know, I don't feel like in comparison to like Philadelphia, like New Jersey specifically sees a lot of shows. I'd probably say more like North Jersey. I just feel like there's kind of like a stagnation of like venues and stuff in the area. So it's just hard to like find a place that like people can like kind of like congregate to somewhere, you know.
yeah,
And so like it's hard to set up shows. I imagine there's probably people in New Jersey that are just like, oh my god, like you're an idiot, there's like 20 different venues in New Jersey. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but also like you have to figure like New Jersey is like all the way up here to like down here, and there's probably like, you know, there's definitely a few amount up here, there's some like in the middle area, and then there's some south, and then obviously some like near Cape May and like all the way completely south, you know, in New Jersey. And so it's just hard to kind of like, you know, somebody from like southern New Jersey isn't going to be like, oh, I mean, there's probably are people that are going to be like, I'll drive up to North Jersey to see a show. But like you know, like I feel like people get so complacent to like, oh, well, like it's in Philadelphia, I'll go to Philadelphia because that's just easier. You know, I don't have
yeah.
to go drive up to like nowhere North Jersey to go see the same show, you know. And like I said, I feel lucky enough to have like both of those markets where it's like a B market thing, like on the coast of New Jersey, and then also like Philadelphia, you know, New York's right there, so like they hit that route, and you know everything's good there. So like, you know, whenever people tell me they're like, oh, I have to drive like 6 hours to go see like a show, I like feel blessed that I don't have to drive 6 hours to see a show, because that would suck and it would, you know, ruin my gas mileage in my car. But like,
Yeah.
you know, I appreciate their respect and admiration for like going to see music and to support like local music or whatever. And I think that also kind of instills that drive to want to do it and like, you know, push out, especially if you're in a band, you know, like obviously when you build your focus wherever you're at locally, but like, you know, it's cool to see like bands, like you said, like we were talking about like Knuckle Puck and like Neck Deep and stuff, building their like thing out there and then just becoming like, you know, obviously it's not something that happens, you know, tomorrow. It's something that happens over time, and it's a growth thing. And I think that that's just really cool, and I'm excited to see what, you know, St. Louis does for you guys and like growth from there, because like you definitely feel like, you know, you're impassioned by like St. Louis and like having the music scene out there. So I'm hoping that things kind of turn around and people are like, you know what, I agree with Wes. We got to make St. Louis. We gotta make St. Louis great. You know.
Me too. Me too. We have a really cool venue here. I think what you were saying is like, you know, we need a really good DIY space, and like we do have a venue here called the Sinkhole that like is doing a lot of. That's actually where I played a show with Keep Flying and Nominee, and the place only holds like 85 people at max capacity. But like, what's cool about it is if you play a show and like, you know, half that many people are there, 40 people show up, it feels full. It feels like it's a sold out show, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is cool. And you know, you just play on the floor, and it's a really, I think they even like, I don't even think they take a cut of the door. It all goes to the band. So like it's a really cool space, and venues are hurting right now though, you know. So
Yeah,
do what
so
you can if you can help them out.
100%. Yeah, definitely. Go support your local venue. Hopefully, we'll be back to doing this sooner than later. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't
Yeah,
want to predict anything. I'm not a prophet
things
or
like
anything, but I just hope that it happens soon because my mental health is degrading from not seeing a show. So I want to physically be like, listen, everybody complains about like that one dude that hasn't worn deodorant in like 5 weeks. I would gladly smell that dude that smell is terrible. You know, if I can be in a venue and see a band play, I would gladly smell that dude in that venue. Okay, like that's how. I listen. I'll take the hand grenade on that one. I am totally okay with that as long as shows go back to like a symbol of normalcy.
yes.
But the next question was speaking about music, obviously the larger reason why you're on here. If you were trapped on a desert island for the next month and there was one record you could bring with you, what would it be?
Uh, Man, that's a tough one. These are good questions.
Oh, thank you.
I
It's a month,
would
I feel like, you know? It's a little easier.
I would say that that story so far one that has that I think it's just self-titled, that has
It's
nerve and
self-titled. Yeah.
yeah, has nerve and all those songs. When that came out, man, I listened to I don't think I listened to anything but that for like a month or two. I just wanted to listen to it over and over and over. So I would have to say that one. Like their self-titled is one of my favorite albums, and it's easy to listen to.
Oh, 100%. You know, and I feel like pop punk's just like I don't know. I'm gonna probably get a lot of flack for comparing it to this, but like I feel like once we get older and like pop punk, like when I have kids and stuff, they're gonna be like, "Wow, this is what you call easy listening?" Is like some like story so far or something like that. Oh my god, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna get memed out for that, but honestly, I'm okay with that. You know, I feel like that's what's gonna happen. You know.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's like there's a radio station here that's soft rock that I grew up listening to, and that my parents, you know, and it was like songs from the 60s and 70s and 80s, like that were like easy listening, like soft. It was rock, but it was soft rock. Like, and what is that now? You know, it's so funny because even now, like people talk about like old Green Day
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And old Nirvana is like classic rock now, and that was, you know, that was the music that like I was only like 11 years old when Green Day Dookie came out. You know what I mean? And like so now I'm like, man, this is classic rock now. Like or you know, it's being played on the classic rock station here
Yeah.
in St. Louis. Like, damn, like I mean, I know I'm old, but
No, that's just further instating that. Yeah, it's classic
not
punk
classic
now.
rock old.
Oh man, that hurts me. But anyway, we're gonna move beyond that, and the more important thing, the reason why you're here, Wes. Tell people where they can find you out on social media. You know what you have coming up as you know a band, things of that nature, and anything else you'd like to plug. If you'd like to plug your podcast, you're absolutely able to do so here.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you so much, Brandon, for having me on. I mean, I feel like you're very good at doing these interviews. And
Oh, thank you.
I just want to talk to you like as a friend.
Yes.
And talk
Well,
video,
we could do this.
But you can find the best place to find me and to follow me is just at Wesley Hoffman on Instagram and Twitter. But Instagram is mainly where I live, and you can save my new single "What's Left of Me" that's coming out on March 5th. There's a link in my bio there on Instagram. It's at Wesley Hoffman, and then I'm also putting out a music video, and I'll send you a Dropbox link to this video. I'd love for you to take a look at it, hear what you think.
I'll do a
after we get
reaction
off.
video.
Oh, okay.
Even better.
But I'm putting that video out. It'll come out a couple of days ahead of the single. So March 3rd, I'm working with Val, and we're doing a premiere for that, and I'm very excited for that as well. But I don't have a dedicated website yet. I'm just kind of using Instagram as like my main way to like reach out to people, and I like Instagram a lot. It's a good platform. So, and then my podcast is on Spotify. Like I said, I haven't put out an episode in a couple months. It's been since December, since maybe right before Christmas. But it's Wes Hoffman with Friends. And then if you want to follow my music on Spotify, it's just Wes Hoffman on Spotify.
There we go.
So, yeah, thank you so much for having me, dude. This is super, super fun. Super, super fun.
Well, thank you. I want to again give a massive shout outs to Val of What Happened to Your Band. Again, I cannot sing enough praises about Val, so I will continue to do so as long as this channel exists in every and any entity. Please go check out Val. She's a saint, and she does a great job at what she does, so go give her some love. But if you want to go give the main person, the person that's on here, the person that's on your video screen, Wes Hoffman, go check all the links in the description where to find out about Wes Hoffman, his music, his podcast. Go check it all out. The man is doing the work out here. Listen, I respect the grind, so if you respect the grind, you gotta go do it. I'm one for the people. I'm one here for audio addiction. And listen, if I can respect anybody that does a lot of work, you know it's me. So I can respect what Wes does. So go check all of his entities, whether it be a podcast or his music. The interview will probably be out around the time the music video and the single drops. So go check that out. Go listen to it. Go follow him on Spotify. I'm sure it helps out him a lot. And you know your boy is going to check him out as soon as it comes out. So go give it a listen. And if you enjoyed this content, make sure to subscribe, share it. It helps out my YouTube algorithm. So if you want more people to find out about what I do, feel free to do that. It honestly means the world. And we'll have some maybe 5-year merch coming out very soon. I don't want to allude to anything, but we're working on some stuff right now, so very excited to get that out. And of course, thanks to Wesley for coming on and doing the chats.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.